This week, we're going to kind of put everything together and we're going to talk about the common forms of pain. So I see this all the time where people come to me with consistent issues, and we call those chronic pain. Right? Chronic pain is something that has occurred over a long period of time. Maybe it progressively gets worse, whereas acute pain is something that happens immediately, so an injury or an accident. So I had mentioned before that I had worked for the military. I was training soldiers and providing them with information on how to keep their bodies healthy and move more effectively. In that time, I worked with physical therapists and we had conversations about what are the most common issues, causes of pain, or areas of pain that you find. And they would always say to me, lower back, shoulders, knees. Those were the biggest. So I really wanted to dive in to figure out what causes these issues and if we could prevent that. So what happens when the body is not aligned? You have these issues of chronic pain. And oftentimes we can either fix it ourselves or avoid it completely. So making sure that your body is in proper alignment is crucial to be able to relieve yourself of pain, really empower yourself so that you don't have to rely on doctors or other healthcare professionals to help you once you do have an issue with pain. Okay, so back pain, let's start there because this is a huge one that I see. I mean, this spans not only through active duty service members, with veterans, and the rest of the population. Almost all of my clients come to me for that specific reason, as they have lower back pain. So when we talk about the body, we remember, we probably had talked about it at some point, is that everything is connected. So if you have an issue with, if you have an issue with your shoulder, you could potentially have an issue with your hip. If you have an issue with your foot, you can have an issue with a knee in that same side. So when you have lower back pain, the problem may not even be in your back. The problem may be somewhere else. So that's where it comes into play, the stretching, the strength training, the mobility work, to make sure that all of the joints are functioning properly, so that way it can alleviate some of that pain. We talked about the hips rotating backwards or tilting forward. So if you think of that bowl, if the hips do this, where the back of the hip is coming up and the front part of the hip is going down, and you kind of can spill water out of that bowl, that's the pelvis coming forward. If that's the case, you're going to have lower back pain. Super easy to fix with strengthening the lower abdominals or the essentially the core in general, strengthening the muscles in the buttocks, and releasing the hip flexors. So something that we can do. Also doing lots of stretching, rotation, and just making sure that you're actually moving your body. The challenge often is when people, I'm sure you guys have heard, move it or lose it, right? Like, not something that is a hidden secret. We kind of all heard that before. And it's very true. Because if you don't move your body, the fascia is going to lock up, and then you can't move, and then you're going to have some chronic pain in the future. So always make sure that you're moving around once you find yourself that you have some form of pain. Next cause of pain in the real world is headaches. This could be prevented in some cases if you pay attention to your diet, if you pay attention to your hydration levels. I know that is one of my things. When I get dehydrated, I get a headache. So those are types of things that you can think about when it comes to your causing of pain in your head. The other thing is we talked about again with the posture. So if you're constantly leaning forward, either typing or texting, make sure that that neck is in neutral, stretching the front part of your neck, and maybe you can get a friend to do a massage on you, or you can get a ball and roll around on a ball. That'll help to release some of that pain. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I have the mic on, but yeah, it's where I live. We make a lot of noise here. Okay, so that should help with the headaches. You can also find points. You can feel around on your thumb, and there's going to be one place. It's just going to feel a little different than the other places. It feels really tender. Once you find that point, on my hand, it's right here. Let me see. On my hand, it's right. You got to close your eyes sometimes. Yep, it's right there for me. This is one of those pressure points that you can apply pressure to help release some migraines or some headaches, and you can massage in there. That usually feels really, really good. Also, if you have headaches, you can come in here to the temples. This is the other place you can take your thumbs, come to the back of the neck, and you have to, it's kind of hard because the muscles are going to be active. So maybe if you're lying down, it'll feel a little bit better, and then just scoop right up and press the base of the skull. That is going to help to release some of that pressure, to release some of the headache pain. So that's the second thing, or the second most common form of pain. Okay, so the last one that I'm going to talk about is just overall pain in the joint. So sometimes you're going to get, maybe you work out a little bit too hard, or you haven't moved your body in a little bit, and then you'll get some soreness in a joint, whether it's the hip, the shoulder, or the knee. Even in your hands as well. We kind of ignore when our hands are sore because we move them all the time. But the way in which you can alleviate some of the pain in these areas is to kind of open up, stretch the joint, and then move it around. So if you can hold on to something, create a little space in the joint, and you'll feel it, when you kind of open it up, and then just do a little bit of movement in that joint. The thing is, when you open up, so if your joint is locked in like this, you see how there's no space. If I just let this open up a little bit like that, then I can get some fluid in there. It's called the synovial fluid. The fluid gets in there and it starts to heal itself, and it starts to provide some lubrication, and it just makes your joints a little bit happier. So that's a great place to start. Hit me up in the forums again. Let me know how things are going. You can always email me, and I wish you all the best.